Bullying typically happens under the radar. The first thing to happen is a breakdown in communication. If your child's being bullied, remember looking back to my own past as well, my own story, my child's being bullied, I was being bullied. I didn't want to talk about it in front of my parents. Now you throw in the cultural diversity of Dubai and how different parents, different nations all approach that, how we approach discipline and resilience and overcoming difficulty, how we approach confrontation differently, chuck in a bit of toxic masculinity, where boys don't want to, right? Where boys don't want to admit to their fathers that they're going through bullying because it's not manly to do that. Suddenly you've got this breakdown in communication. It's not just boys, it's girls as well. It's embarrassing sometimes for them. They feel this guilt, this embarrassment. So the first thing that happens is a breakdown in communication. When that breakdown in communication happens, it's even harder for you to help them because it's harder for you to see what they're going through. So these signs and symptoms are really important. Mood swings and aggressive outbursts. Vicky said to me, just because a child's, having a mood swing doesn't mean they're being bullied. I was like, no, but it's the consistency with it, okay? Insecurity and depression. They don't want to go to the classes or clubs or schools they used to enjoy. So there might be a one-off, right? That they come home, they don't want to go there anymore. But if it's a consistent thing where they're really upset afterwards, it's time for you to look into and analyze that community, which we're going to be talking about again. Their classwork goes down. This happened to me. My conduct and my behavior suffered because I was trying to gain the respect of the other students. So I was playing up. I think at one time in this ancient Hogwarts of a school, the teacher, the 95-year-old teacher, he fell asleep. I think he was 90, 95 is exaggerating. That's still old, right? So he was asleep during a French class and I snuck behind him and I went into the attic of the school. So I thought it'd be quite funny to do that. And I ended up going, it was this really old Victorian building. So I went down into another class, down some stairs, opened the class and it was a full class. I was in a lot of trouble that day. So my behavior got really, really bad, guys, because of the fact that I was trying to play up to get attention and to gain respect of my peers. That was the only way I knew how to do it. Unexplained injuries, that's obvious, but it's also less obvious when you start to include self-harming, which can be hidden quite easily. Self-talk's often negative, the way your child speaks. So inspiring through language is something I really go into a lot of detail about. The way we talk to our children paints a picture of what they should become. We're literally painting a picture for our children to grow into. And Golf Today, going back to the Golf Today, was a really interesting newspaper article they did on me. And it was an article about bullying. And I saw it at 10 p.m. they said, all right, it's live, there you go. And at 10:05 I was like, take it down. The title, and bear in mind, this is about bullying and developing a child's mindset, overcoming what they're going through and not being a victim, was From Wimpy to Warrior. I was like, I'm not wimpy. So what they're doing is labeling every victim of bullying as a wimp. I was like, no way. Dubai, come on, step your game up. This is all about language, right? This is all about the way we approach the subject of bullying, but more important, the way we approach the subject of raising children and character development. We inspire through our language every single conversation we have. And I feel like I was very lucky. I had a mum and dad who were very aligned to that. And then I had other influences and other mentors, like my instructors, who were brilliant at that. It was never a case of, this is what you're like, this is you. We've got parents coming to us sometimes and their child's overweight, they're saying, my child's overweight. They need to get fitter. And as an instructor, that's one of the hardest things to deal with, because first we need to change what's going on with the parents and the way they're speaking to their children. But it's quite hard to approach that because you've got to have a lot of respect when you speak to parents. You can't just say, you should do this, maybe. So we're working overtime to change the language people use with their children because it makes such a big impact. So you can watch their self-talk. By watching their self-talk, you'll have a good insight into, if they've got a strong inner critic, if it's a negative mindset they've got. How are they talking about themselves? Do they often put themselves down? You need to retrain that. Self-harming, eating habits change.